Hi, this is one of a series of videos organised by Quench Arts as part of their bite-sized training. They're introductions to various aspects of being a music leader, and this one's about music leader well-being. And their associated notes, a really important topic. I think often the best music leaders are people who feel that they're not perfect, they fall short. I think it's most human beings are like that. And actually, out of our fragility, if we can actually have the strength to deal with it and kind of manage it in some way and keep a decent out of that fragility, can come a real strength and ability to support and help other people that's much stronger than someone who goes through life thinking they're perfect and never struggling with anything. So have confidence in yourself, even if you're someone who in many ways feels fragile. So, and I think linked to that, it's a sign of strength to ask for help. I've managed other music leaders delivering programs over many decades, and I was far more worried about the ones who never asked for help than I was about the ones who did come and ask for help. And I've seen it's often the ones that ask for help at various stages and got it that have gone on to thrive. And I've seen people. Well, one of my favourite memories is the guy that said, this is in 1992, so a very long time ago, I will never ever lead a music group of more than 3 people because I'm not confident. I don't think it can work. He used to sell keyboards in a music shop, and I'd encouraged him to come on the training that we had. And there is a video of him from a couple of decades ago, bouncing around the stage of the Royal Albert Hall with the whole of the BBC Welsh Symphony Orchestra before him, a hall packed with people who with disabilities and neurodiverse and a lot of autistic kids, doing a concert that was so engaging. Everyone was fully engaged and having fun, and he was the centre of attention. So that was a good few hundred people. So he went well beyond what he originally said he was comfortable with, but it took him time to get there. Do your thing, and don't assume that you can't do stuff, but ask for help, get support, be honest about where you're at, and take it a step at a time. So part of your job's to use all the resources available to ensure that things really work well. So that's who you are and what you bring to it, but also your line manager, their experience and the power they have to change things. Quite often they can do deals, and that's a really useful resource. If you've got a good manager, the managers at Quench are great. Use them. They're under a lot of pressure, but they've got a huge interest in making things work, and they'd rather hear about issues at the beginning and get stuck in and get the right context where you can really give of your best. Ask at an early stage of a project and there's more chance of problems being solved, and actually funders quite like to see a project that didn't go perfectly but there were hit problems and overcame them. They'd much rather see that. They're a bit suspicious if you submit reports that everything went brilliantly from the off and there was never any problems. They probably think you're lying. So it's normal to have emotional responses to your work. Actually, being a person whose emotions are alive, who's got emotional sensitivity, is a valuable asset that you bring to this work. Being impacted by the work and by the people you work with is a sign that you care and you care about doing it well. But sometimes the situations of the people we work with, the challenges that they face in life, can be disturbing. But that's a sign. The fact that it disturbs you means you've got empathy, and it's a key quality. But you may need help. Just be honest about it, and maybe just talking off the record to someone that you can trust. Don't use names, don't use venues if you don't have to. Just talk about what you can. That can help. But ideally, your first protocol would be your manager if you trust them. And Another thing, I've come across many people who felt utterly useless because of one participant in their sessions who just makes life really difficult. There are other notes on managing behaviour, but again, talk to your manager. It's almost certainly not you. There may be things that you can do to manage that situation and improve it, and there may be even more that your manager can do working with other people in the venue. So journaling, reflection are key tools. So as a routine, I nearly always write down or audio dictate notes as soon as possible after a session. My first reactions, my memory of it, the stuff I was struggling with, the stuff I was really excited about. For things that I'm really used to doing, it may be just a few notes about what I said I'd bring next time, or what I need to prepare or adjust for the next session. But certainly when I've got problems in a session, and that happens to me, and I've been doing it for decades, I get it written down, because then I can get a perspective on it. I could come back fresh the next, I could download it, come back fresh the next day, have a look at it and think, yeah, what might I be able to do about this? And some of it, you look at it, you think, I need help, so I go and get help. There's no problem with that. So send whatever messages and communication you need to send to sort things out at for the following session. So when you reflect, when you look at it, you realise, actually, if I knew that child's name, if I knew a bit more about that, I may be able to handle it better, or whatever, or just get hold of your manager. Do it sooner than later. Not everyone can get back to you straight away. If you've got doing weekly sessions and you get hold of them immediately after your session, then there's a few days for them to fit in getting back to you and having proper time to support you. So what you write down, don't worry about it being fancy English or whatever. Just get it down. You can edit it later. You can have help to edit it later, and then take a good breath. Maybe take a break and come back to it and start reflecting. First to understand what happened, then to think about solutions. And it's better to get all of us getting irritated by particular individuals or by staff, and it's best to get it out of our system and then manage it with help. So I like to think of it as a kind of, I'm just looking to see if I've got a piece of string here, but I haven't, an unknotting process. By recalling what happened, if I don't know, I'm quite keen on undoing knots. I do sailing as well. You look at a knot first. You go, how is this? What's going on in this knot? And then you can start making your move to unpick it. So you recall what happened, what you said and did, what participants and staff said and did, what was happening musically, what you were feeling, what you think they were feeling, because we never entirely know what someone else is feeling. We often have a strong idea what they might be feeling, but we don't know. Even what they tell us they're feeling might not be the truth. And writing it down should generally help order thoughts and build understanding. And if at that initial stage you're still feeling overwhelmed, and this is where you need to get help as soon as possible, and that should just be normal. And drop a line to your line manager, see if you can get them on the phone. Again, they might not be able to talk to you straight away, but it's better to have their full attention. The notes will be really useful then, those raw notes, in helping you tell other people what happened. And I think quite often someone else looking at it fresh and hearing your account, then they can ask the right questions and help unpick things in a way that if you've been staring at that knot for ages and it just looks like a horrible knot, you may need a new fresh pair of eyes and ears. And don't be afraid to be creative if that's what works for you and get started. Doodles, drawing, they're all communication. For some people it won't really hit you to the next day. If things are bothering you the next morning, then thoughts might come up in the middle of the night. We're all different. Writing things up in whatever form is a way of getting some distance from it and a critical first step in coping. If something's bothering me in the middle of the night, and I try and sleep for about half an hour, if it's still bothering me, I get up, I write something down. That's my way of getting it out. Dictate it, write a song about it, whatever helps you. Download it, get it out of your system, and get that sleep that you need, and then come back to it. It's good to be frank in your notes, but you do need to make sure about that you keep them confidential. If they're on a mobile phone or something that you could conceivably lose a laptop, make sure that it's encrypted so that no one else can get into it. And certainly don't leave written notes around where people could pick them up and read them. And then before you communicate with others, particularly the managers in the venue or whatever, you may need to very carefully edit it and perhaps check it out with your manager or someone else before you send it. I have on more than one occasion sent an email in anger, and they very rarely do much use. They just cause barriers and yeah, slight look of shame on my face. Just wait, leave it some breathing time. And it is a fact that some situations, some combinations of the venue, the issues of the venue, the staff there, the participants that you're meant to be working with, just make it very, very difficult, impossible to make it work. It should be fairly rare. Your managers should have avoided putting you into that kind of situation, but it's frequently not the fault of the music leader. Again, communicate. And there's just simple issues with the venue, clashes, or I've been in school halls where you get people walking through all the time, and your participants can't focus, and that just needs sorting out. It's just not a very workable situation. But other disturbed, I've seen people run brilliant sessions in very chaotic, in hospital wards. We get children's ward, they're very chaotic and a lot going on, and they've just found a way of getting some good stuff to happen. And it's the job of your line manager to sort things out directly, support you to sort them out, or maybe even at very occasionally you just have to bring a project to a close. It's much better for that to happen than to have a kind of mess and a failure on your hands. And you don't want to get deeper and deeper into something that's really not working, but you will have to stick at it. Often the most amazing things come out of something being difficult, being a problem, stuff where you're feeling low but you can't work through it. You get help, and you can often then have amazing breakthroughs. So do have courage and stick at things as well, but not on your own, and not if it's carrying on going downhill. Mind, the national charity, have a brilliant wellness action plan, and that's a great quality free resource to help you manage your own well-being, and I would recommend that. There are many other aspects to well-being, and much more written about it by many people that are wiser than me, but this is just a few specifics that I hope would be useful to leading music sessions. There are more of these things, there's notes available. I hope that's useful. Bye.